Hello, this is Brian. Today is Sunday, June 6th, 2021. I'm right by Inspiration Point Vista area along Angeles Crest Highway is just over that way. There's a parking area here and a PCT cut through here. And, well, I was doing a video earlier about bitter cherry, Prunus emarginata. Maybe we'll use this video as kind of a little tag along, because the reason why I wanted to get this video in now is because earlier today I did a spotlight on shrubs video along Blue Ridge Truck Trail about bitter cherry, Prunus emarginata. Well, I did that spotlight video and I was talking about how it could be confused with western chokecherry, Prunus virginiana var demissa. Well, here's a Prunus virginiana var demissa. So compare the videos. This is western chokecherry, Prunus virginiana var demissa. Generally a much larger shrub, thicket forming shrub. And if you remember the spotlight video, I had mentioned that the bitter cherry, their flowers are arranged in roughly rounded clusters, and western chokecherry's flowers are arranged in more linear clusters. Well, this one has some spent flowers on it. Actually, a few flowers left over. Let me see if I find a longer stalk. I was telling you earlier, they're more in racemes, linear stalks. As you can see here, the stalks are linear. This is, again, western chokecherry, Prunus virginiana var demissa. And the leaves are generally larger and a little broader, but also like bitter cherry, a lot of times they fold up at the midrib. So be aware of that too. This is again Prunus virginiana var demissa, western chokecherry. So I wanted to add this video, tag this onto the end of my spotlight on bitter cherry video, so you can kind of see the contrast in the two species. Again, the leaves are fairly narrow, but they're a little broader in profile, a little broader, and the shrubs typically get quite a bit larger. And their bark tends to be a little darker. You see here, a little more of that cherry reddish brown color. Again, very cherry-like, like the bitter cherry, with little. Sometimes you'll see little horizontal lines called lenticels. So, like I said, the flower stalks are the key to identifying these two very proficiently and easily. The flowers themselves, the individual flowers, are very similar on both Prunus species, but again, that's more of a linear cluster, or it's more like a raceme. It's kind of like a raceme, is a kind of way to put it. The leaves are about the same colored, only I think they get a little bit darker as summer progresses. There you have it. Wanted to tag this video onto the end of my spotlight video on bitter cherry so I can show you a quick contrast between bitter cherry and western chokecherry. Again, they're quite similar species, but western chokecherry tends to get much larger and somewhat broader leaves. Now that I'm by a bunch of western chokecherries, now there are no bitter cherries for me to show a quick contrast in the video. Here's a much larger inflorescence right here. Again, you're looking at this here in Southern California, you're looking at Prunus virginiana var demissa. Again, the western chokecherry. don't think there are any bitter cherries over here for me to contrast with. Sometimes they do grow together. I'm not planning on making this a big 20-minute video, but let's see if I can find a bitter cherry around here to contrast it with. But can't really. We've got some more thickets. Got some more thickets of western chokecherry over here. If you compare them to the spotlight video I did on bitter cherry, you can tell they're much larger shrubs. Got a nice population of them over here, actually. Several thickets of them along this slope here. Some more western chokecherries over here. Beautiful shrubs. Out of the two species, usually the western chokecherry gets the more dramatic fall color of the two. Bitter cherry, didn't mention this in the video, I should have. Bitter cherry typically gets a kind of a yellowish color in the fall, but these ones can get yellow, red, orange, quite showy. Here's what the more mature leaf looks like. The leaves are much larger in profile, and again, the linear inflorescences, which will become chokecherries, which are bitter, supposed to be extremely bitter and astringent. Well, hopefully you watch this video in conjunction with my spotlight on bitter cherry, so you can kind of see the two differences in inflorescences and leaves and even the bark and stature. And I hope you enjoyed this little video on the western chokecherry. You can use this as a companion video to my bitter cherry video I recorded earlier today on June 6th, 2021, and my spotlight on western chokecherry, which I did August 12th of 2020. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.